Hello and welcome to Advanced Manufacturing Now, the podcast for manufacturing professionals. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to get new episodes delivered to your inbox each week. I'm your host, Cary Gitter, Associate Editor at SME Media. Our topic today is AI, ERP, and manufacturing, and I'm joined by Dennis Easter and Doug Johnson. Dennis Easter is the Senior Solutions Engineer at Algorithm Inc., a gold-certified Acumatica partner. He has nearly 30 years of experience in accounting, IT, and operations, helping manufacturers and distributors transform their businesses with modern ERP solutions. Doug Johnson is VP of Solution Architecture at Acumatica and an experienced ERP solutions leader with deep expertise in helping manufacturers bridge the gap between enterprise systems and the shop floor. Dennis, Doug, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Great to have you with us. So just to get started, a question for either or both of you. Describe in today's manufacturing landscape how AI is impacting the ERP industry.
So AI has been a driver of many things for a long time, but recently AI, through advances in processing power and investment in what we call large language models, and the transformers architecture and natural language processing, all of those things have come together to make this new version of artificial intelligence called generative AI. So it can actually start behaving and acting and taking a lot of the manual processes away from people in all industries. And manufacturing's, of course, one of those where there are many manual processes that need to be impacted. We, as ERP providers, software providers that do that, are finding that all of our clients really want AI to be part of their business, but they're cautious with how they want it rolled out. They want us to follow, some responsibility codes. They're very nervous about what AI can do, and we can get into that a little bit later in terms of, interrupting some of their policies and security issues that might come along with it. They want it to be easy to use. A lot of the things that have driven AI in the past have been done by data scientists that are very computer geeky guys like myself. And most of the manufacturing teams don't really want to be computer geeky guys. They want to build things more efficiently, and they want AI to help them with that. So they want it to be very practical and easy to use. And then the last thing is the pricing on some of these AI engines is a bit mysterious, to say the least. It can involve things like vectors and other, things that are very difficult to know what that will be. So they want to make sure that the value that they're getting out of the system and of the AI is commensurate with the advantages that they're getting. So that would be my quick introduction as to some of the things that, we want, that manufacturers want, and then some of the concerns that they have. Now, what I also want to describe is how, as a software provider, we've reacted to these concerns, issues, and how we've started rolling out our product, and how we've started integrating AI with our business management system that can help manufacturers, manage everything from accounting to shop floor to bills of materials to estimating to all those sorts of different modules to MRP. So all that is done, and AI can be done along with it and integrated skillfully. And what do I mean by that? Well, when people use a system, a business management system, they're used to using a mouse and a keyboard to interact with it. External systems can interact with it through RESTful APIs, and that's the world as it exists today. But AI can be another, let's call it, super user. But the problem with this super user called AI is when, instead of using a keyboard and a mouse, it can interact as a machine would, as an external system using RESTful APIs. Now, in addition to that, the human wants to be able to control this super user. So the AI provides a voice entry into the system, a voice interface, so that you can talk to it and it can carry out tasks for you. Now, to avoid the AI system from taking over, we have to treat it just like a user, just like another external system that provides us with data. All the same security and everything else is enforced, so that you can think of the AI super user as just another user with the same rules and responsibilities of other things. The benefit of the AI user is it never gets bored. It can think a lot faster. And now with the enhancements to AI and generative AI, it can actually do a little bit of quote unquote thinking for you. So that's a little bit about how AI is impacting the ERP and manufacturing industries from my standpoint. Dennis, I don't know if I left you anything to munch on there, but that's my intro.
No, I think that you've got it all good there, Doug.
Great, thank you. And so let's get into that pricing question that you alluded to, Doug, which you said can be somewhat mysterious or challenging for manufacturers. How are AI services typically priced, and how can businesses kind of determine their value?
Sure. Let me start with an example that I actually personally was involved with. So one of the things that our system does today is you can have a shop floor, somebody managing the shop floor, and there's things coming in and out at all times. People are entering time cards, machines are providing input to other systems, saying how efficiently, whether things are breaking down. A job that runs all the way through multiple steps of your manufacturing floor can have a budget, and then it can have an actuals, and it can have a difference. Now, if you have a large organization and hundreds of jobs flowing through every day, it's very difficult for the shop floor manager to keep a handle on that. So one of the things that AI can do is it can look across all this data coming in, and it can spot things such as, oh, I noticed that there's a particular employee that's spending a little bit longer than usual on a specific at a specific workstation. It can also say, oh, I've noticed that certain jobs are not being completed on budget. So it makes it a little more efficient for these outliers to be presented to the production manager. So let me get into now how I'm going to bring that back into the pricing and costing. So we have an algorithm that's running in the background that's doing that. This one happened to be with Anthropic or Claude. It was the one that was doing this oversight. And it plugs in quickly and easily to our ERP system to perform said activities. One of the things that we were doing is we were sharing our instance of Claude. And Claude decided, because we were in the middle of a hackathon, that he would hold us up for payment. Well, I needed to keep doing demonstrations and managing things. So I quickly logged in, set up a personal account in about 5 minutes, added $5, and off it started going. And it was working in, roughly 5 minutes. I had it back. And then I was able to march through my demos and do other pieces of information that could show how the process was working. Now, I wasn't running an actual shop floor, but I was just, simulating what would happen on an actual shop floor when I was doing this. Now, getting back to pricing, so you're thinking to yourself, well, that's all it costs was $5 and you're off and running. Well, behind the scenes, there was a lot of calculations going on, things that are very mysterious, such as inputs and outputs and the number of bytes and bits and that sort of thing flowing through Claude that allowed him to analyze data. So the challenge that we have as a provider of services to manufacturing companies is to make these AI tools available in an understandable format. And one of those things they need to understand is price. So What we do is, as we do with all of our pricing, is we make it a consumption-based pricing. So we explain to them that, after you buy in chunks of data, just like you would if you were you're paying your power bill. And the more you use, the more you pay. And typically people can expect, for a simple day of work on a shop floor, depending on how much data is coming in and out, that can be, if you're using it heavily, anywhere from, $5 like I paid that would get you through, all the way up to much more than that if you're not careful. So when we build our solutions, we make sure that we're only involving the AI bot as needed to make sure that the costs do not get out of control. But anyway, in terms of pricing, we're taking the pricing that you would see on, a typical AI engine, and we're simplifying that and providing it to customers based on the number of orders they have, the number of records they process, and other things that they're very familiar with.
Great, thank you. Dennis, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
I think that the having the straightforward pricing that Acumatica provides really takes a lot of guesswork out of the AI pricing, because as Doug said, it's really a black box where there's a lot of complicated calculations going on, and having someone simplify that for you makes it a much easier way to justify the use of it, because it can be easily quantified against your usage.
Got it. Thank you. And to move on from pricing to practicality, I'm sure there are customers out there who have concerns about the learning curve involved in AI for their team members. So, can anybody learn to write an AI prompt? How feasible is that? How simple is it for people on a shop floor to pick up this skill set and interact with this technology?
That's one of the great things about the internet. Is that with the internet you can learn most anything, and I think that one of the key things for prompt development is really understanding a couple key frameworks, and understanding the way that the generative AI is really working. And so, the best thing to do is understand the framework of a prompt, and that really begins with the context. And then, so what are you, what position are you in? What are you trying to do? Give it some instructions, specific instructions, and then make sure that it understands the structure that you want your feedback in. And I think that, if you can understand basic frameworks, then it becomes very easy to develop effective prompts and use the system the way that is going to be most beneficial to you. And so I think that because of that simple framework, most anyone can do it. I'm interested to see what Doug says.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. We have a couple mechanisms to make things easy. We provide an internal LLM where we build services such as anomaly detection, and things that are included, where you basically just use it like you would any other shop floor tool. So anomaly detection, if you want to have an interactive assistant answer questions as you're on the shop floor trying to figure out how something works. All of those things are just built for any simple user who wants to go ahead and take advantage of the tools that are available. We also provide external LLM. So it's kind of bring your own LLM, where you can buy your LLM and you can easily connect it to Acumatica, your business management software that's running your manufacturing operation. That's where Dennis was explaining these prompts that you can write. For the most part, it's just natural language interface. So you can go ahead and tell it what you want to do or type what you want it to do. What makes it a little more complex is you're interfacing with different data and other things. So we provide a prompt screen where you can go in and test out your prompts and send it and see what it will look like on the other side before you actually roll it out. So it allows you to test the way you phrase things and other instances, so that as your business users create the content or create the applications using this bring your own LLM situation, they can test that out so that when the person on the shop floor goes to use it, it won't be a hindrance or a problem for them to do it whatsoever, even if they misspeak or say something incorrectly.
Great, thank you. And so with that usability barrier able to be overcome, then there's the question that Doug, you referenced early on about caution regarding compliance and corporate governance. Obviously, there's also a big data protection, cybersecurity concern when it comes to AI. So for a manufacturer who's integrating AI into their ERP, what can they be told to address those concerns, and what measures are providers taking to kind of assuage those fears or that wariness?
Yeah, so we get I've been pitching AI to, let's say, I've been doing it for, a few years now, but I've had, 50 to 60 in-depth conversations with the CFOs of the people that run these organizations, as well as many of the operations folks, as well as the IT teams. And the IT teams and the CFOs seem to be a lot more concerned with the security than the operations folks out on the shop floor. So for them, adhering to corporate governance policies and other things is top of mind and very important. So to allay the fears that those groups have, we implement AI engines in a couple of ways that really help, people that are allowed to do that. So in the beginning, I mentioned a little bit about, you can think of the AI as a really smart user. But just like any other user of the system, you can limit what that user can do through the standard policies that limit all of your users. So in order for the AI tool to get access to the data and access to change anything in the system, it has to run through the same business logic as your users do. So if you want to give your AI tool the same permissions as a shop floor employee, you can do that. If you want to give your AI user the same permissions as the CFO, you can do that as well. So all of that's very much maintained and works. Everything works through the business logic to make sure that the AI tool doesn't run amok of your corporate governance policy. That said, it's important to have a data protection and governance policy before implementing AI, because that's your roadmap for the what you want to do and what you want to allow the AI tools to do. It can, if you let it make too many suggestions. And the one other really important point is, after the AI makes a suggestion, there's the ability for a human to review it before it's accepted into the database. As people become more and more accepting of AI, you can turn that off if you want and allow automation to take place, where you tell the AI, if this machine breaks, reroute it through Work Center 2, and then it will just automatically do it. The way it's done today is that instead of automatically doing it, it'll send a recommendation via a text message, via an email, via a mobile notification, or some other mechanism, and saying you may want to immediately reroute this, but a human still makes the final decision until, as I say, we become more, accepting of these technologies from a risk perspective.
Great. Thanks. And are you beginning to see kind of a speeding up of adoption of AI for ERP within manufacturing? Is adoption ramping up now that AI is just kind of becoming more ubiquitous within the sector in general?
Interest-wise, things are through the roof. There's not one of our customers that doesn't want to know how AI is going to impact their manufacturing operations. Interest does not necessarily yet conform to, using and actually adopting it. But the interest is 100%. Adoption's coming along faster and faster. I don't have an exact number for you, but there are people that have already rolled it out. So there's people that are, in the middle of it. And then there's people using it and taking small steps, like, the application I described before. Just keep an eye on my shop floor and tell me when you spot something that looks a little unusual so I can go investigate it. Do proactive recommendations in terms of machines and other things that might be sending alerts that could, cause problems. And then more when you think about the generative AI, even more things in the sales departments of these manufacturing teams really benefit from the ability of these AI engines to generate code. So it can generate images and even things such as emails. So then when they're, if they notice something that's slowing down on the shop floor, the AI tool can notify someone, but not only can it notify them, it can tell them, here's a well-formatted email that you can send to the people who need to take action on, to your customers, and explain to them that due to A happening, you're going to get, you might experience a slight delay in your order being processed. And it can phrase that in a way using sentiment analysis and other things that's consistent with how a message should go out and both professionally and sympathetically to one of your customers that may, a shop floor problem may impact. So all of those types of things are being adopted, as I say, but very cautiously, where they're being adopted in a way that, the person has to approve it, not just letting the AI run wild and run your business for you. We're not to that point yet.
Right. So for manufacturers who have that interest right now, but still maybe are exercising some caution in terms of adoption, are there any other benefits or challenges that you'd want to mention that we haven't touched on yet, or any other aspects of AI within ERP that you think are important to address for somebody considering this right now?
I'll go ahead and give a little bit of an answer on this because I think Doug's probably got more to say as well. But I think that one of the things that we're finding with our customers that are interested in deploying an AI solution is understanding the data that is really required for the AI model to work appropriately. And many are realizing that they haven't been collecting that data. And so it's really developing the infrastructure that is needed in order to support the model to be effective. That's the challenge that we're finding with many of our customers.
That was perfect, Dennis. It ties it all back together too, because we started with the reason AI is taking off is because of data processing. But you're not going to, if you don't have any data to process, AI is not going to be that useful. So it's very important the way Dennis tied it in there.
Wonderful. And is there anything else you'd like to add before we move on and close out?
I'd just like to reiterate the three things that, keep an eye on when you're going to implement these tools. Make sure it's responsible, that the vendors you work with are implementing tools that work according to your governance policies and with your security policies in mind. Make sure that they're easy to use. You don't want to have to go hire a bunch of data scientists to use these tools and implement them. And rely on experts such as Dennis when the time comes to do that. And then lastly, make sure that you understand the costs and other things that you might incur when you turn on these tools. Make sure that the vendor provides you with that information so that you know the difference between a $5 demo and a $50,000 a month charge, because tons of data flooded the AI engine and you racked up a large bill.
Definitely. That's great advice. Thank you. Well, I want to thank both of you, Doug and Dennis, again for joining us today and sharing your insights on this very timely topic for the industry right now. We appreciate you taking the time. And if listeners wanted to learn more about either Algorithm or Acumatica, where should they go to get more information?
You can always go to our website, algorithminc.com. We are social, so follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, Twitter, and we are always at industry trade shows. We're coming up on one later this month, the South Tech exhibition in Greenville, South Carolina. And we'll be in booth 2313 in the Smart Manufacturing session, and we'll be talking about integrating robotics as a solution for the labor problem manufacturers are facing. And so that's how to find Algorithm.
And the way you find Acumatica is through our partners such as Algorithm. So I'll leave you with that one. If you want to come to us directly, just go to our website, www.acumatica.com.
Terrific. Thank you both. And to keep up with the latest manufacturing trends and hear more podcasts, just subscribe to our podcast feed. And of course, visit us at advancedmanufacturing.org. Thank you for listening.